Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to Compensation and Benefits Management online classes. This is Dr. Mahesh M. Vanjeri, Assistant Professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. Okay, so dear students, in the previous two classes, so we have started learning chapter number 7 from unit 2, whether it is external competitiveness. So, in internal competitiveness, we learnt that an employee of one organization compares his or her salary with other employees in the same organization. So, that is the reason why the different jobs need to be evaluated, and depending on the tasks, skill required, nature of the job, the pay structures are determined. Hierarchies are created and internal structure or pay structure is determined. And the pay differentials between the levels is made based on certain criteria which you have learnt. Then the second policy choice. The second policy choice in the pay model is external competitiveness. Then the same employees of the same organization also compare their salary with other similar employees in other organizations, or they compare their salary with the salary in the competitors companies. So we call it external competitiveness. So in a company needs to attract and retain best talent in the labor market. So that is the reason why a company designs its external competitiveness in a way to retain and attract best talent in the labor market. So we are learning about this. So let me take a quick recap in the beginning before I continue with the chapter. Okay, students, can you see the PowerPoint slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So unit 2 deals with the internal alignment as well as external competitiveness of the compensation strategy. So we are learning chapter number 7, defining competitiveness, or how a company designs its compensation in order to be competitive in the market to attract the best talent from labor market. So far we have learned compensation strategy and external competitiveness. Then what shapes external competitiveness or factors influencing external competitiveness of compensation of an organization. So we were learning labor market factors. Okay. So we were learning about what shapes external competitiveness, or what factors influence external competitiveness of a compensation of a company. So there are three broad factors: labor market factors, product market factors, and organization factors. So we have discussed about how the nature of demand influences external competitiveness of an organization. So we are going to learn today how nature of supply in labor market influences external competitiveness of, or we will learn today how the nature of supply in labor market influences decisions taken with respect to external competitiveness of compensation of a company. So these things we have already learned. So labor supply. So labor here is eligible employees who are seeking for a job or searching for a job, okay, or eligible or qualified candidates who are searching for a job, okay. So that is the labor market. So related to labor supply, assumptions on behavior of potential employees, okay. So there are certain assumptions which an organization need to consider before making decisions on its compensation strategy with respect to external competitiveness. So what assumptions have to be considered by the employer about employees? Several job seekers. So okay, the employer has to assume that okay, there are many job seekers or there are several job seekers. Possess accurate information about all job openings. Employers assume that the job seekers are aware about all the opportunities available for them in the market. These are assumptions. Then no barriers exist to mobility among jobs. Say employee of one organization may quit and join another job in competitor organization. So there are no barriers to it. Okay, so no barriers exist to mobility among jobs. So these are the assumptions what employers make about labor supply. Then upward sloping curve, more people willing to take a job as pay increases. Okay, so it is quite easy to understand for all of us. Okay, so these job seekers in the labor market, more of these job seekers are willing to take a job as pay increases, means higher the salary given by a company, higher will be the demand for the job of that company. This is quite natural to understand. If unemployment rates are low, offers of higher pay may not increase supply. Okay, so these all are assumptions what an employer has to make about labor supply. So though we understand that under normal circumstances more people will be willing to take up a job as pay increases or salary increases, but there is a provision for this. If unemployment rates are low, okay, say for example 2%, 3%, 5%, if unemployment rates are very low, offers of higher pay may not increase supply. So there will additional people will not come into labor market as most of them okay are already employed. So pay increase will not result in increase of labor supply when the unemployment rates are very low. Okay, so I hope that is quite understandable. So there are certain theories okay with respect to labor supply, so which an employer need to understand, and so that they can understand how these theories imply or affect their external competitiveness of their compensation. So related to labor supply there are two theories: reservation wage and human capital. So according to reservation wage theory, job seekers will not accept jobs whose pay is below a certain wage, no matter how attractive other job aspects. Again, so this theory is easy to understand. Say job seekers will not accept jobs whose pay is below a certain wage. Say even you are already applying for jobs, okay, and among other factors, the most important factor when you want to apply for a company is the wages, salary or compensation you check, and you have a figure in mind, okay, a certain level of compensation in mind for yourself. So if that company is offering the compensation below that level, definitely you will not apply. Okay, definitely you will not apply. So job seekers will not accept jobs whose pay is below certain wage or below certain minimum level, no matter how attractive other job aspects. There may be other features of the job may be good, other aspects of the job may be good, working conditions may be good, reporting relations may be good, okay, but if the compensation is low, if the salary is low, okay, below a certain minimum level, Okay, job seekers will not accept such jobs. So what will be its impact? Pay level will affect ability to recruit. See, this is how external competitiveness influences. Okay, sorry, this is how external competitiveness is influenced by various factors. So one among them is this labor supply, and how labor supply theories can help understand an employer to determine a competitive pay. So here is a very good example. So the impact of reservation wage is pay level will affect ability to recruit. Okay, so I quoted a small statement, okay, from corporate world, so which is not very professional, but though peanuts attract monkeys. I repeat, peanuts attract monkeys. So if the wages are very low, if the compensation is very low, it will not attract very talented and qualified job seekers. Okay, so that is how we say pay level will affect ability to recruit. So if the compensation is very competitive in the market, or if let us say it is above the competition in the market, so this company will be able to attract the best talent in the labor market. Okay, so I hope you understand what the theory is and how it influences, okay, the external competitiveness of compensation of a company. And second theory is a human capital theory. According to human capital theory, the value of an individual's skills and abilities is a function of time and expense required to acquire them. Okay, the value of an individual's skills and abilities, that is what a company wants to hire, okay, is a function of time and expense required to hire them. Okay, so what is its impact? Higher pay is required to induce people to train for more difficult jobs. Higher pay is required to induce people to train more for difficult jobs. Okay, so to induce people to train for more difficult jobs. So if the nature of job is very difficult, if the working conditions are very difficult, to induce the people to train for such difficult jobs, the company needs to pay a higher compensation. Otherwise, people or job seekers will not take up such difficult jobs. That is what it means. So this way, these labor demand theories and labor supply theories, okay, give a good context for employers to think and determine a good competitive pay structure in the labor market to attract the best talent possible. Okay, then so just now we finished labor market factors, and we learned how labor market factors influence external competitiveness of compensation of an organization. So now we'll move on to product market factors. Okay, so there are two key product market factors affect ability of a firm to change price of its products or services. So we need to understand this. Two key product market factors affect ability of a firm to change price of its products or services. So one is product demand and the other is degree of competition. I'll explain, okay, how it is related to external competitiveness of compensation of a company. So we learned that there are product market factors. Two key product market factors affect ability of a firm to change price of its products. So we are talking about the price, MRP, maximum retail price of its products or services. So one is product demand, puts a lid on maximum pay level an employer can set. See, now I'll explain how this influences external competitiveness of a compensation. Product demand. Okay, in economics we have learnt price elasticity of demand. Okay, so there are products. If the price increases, demand decreases. A small increase in demand will lead to a great decrease in demand for that product. So generally, what may be the reasons for a company to increase product prices? So say for example, increase in the raw material prices may be one of the reasons. Increase in taxes by the government may be one of the reasons. Similarly, okay, if you can recall how employers define compensation, a major cost to company. So one of the major cost to company is compensation of its employees or salary paid to its employees. So if the company is paying a very high salary, so this high salary adds on to the product cost or cost per unit also increases. So then the company will be forced to increase the product price, which will reduce the product demand. So this way the company has to analyze well in advance what compensation level it is determining to pay, okay, where it doesn't affect the product prices and the product demand remains intact, and yet the compensation of this company should be competitive in the labor market as well. So very difficult decisions. And second, okay, key product market factor that affects ability of firms to change price of its products is the degree of competition. In highly competitive markets, employers are less able to raise prices without loss of revenues. So generally, okay, if the nature of business of a company is in maturity stage of its life cycle, okay, so where the competition will be highest and the profit margins will be very little. So in such a case, in such a highly competitive markets, employers are less able to raise prices without loss of revenues. So if a company is operating in a very highly competitive market, if a company is operating in a highly competitive market where the competition is cutthroat, okay, in such a case, okay, the profit margins will be very little, and the scope to earn additional revenues will be only by way of increasing prices, okay. But if the company increases the prices to increase margins, okay, definitely the demand will decrease and the company will incur loss of revenues. So in such a condition, the company has to put a lid on its, okay, the company has to put a lid on its maximum pay, what it can pay to its employees. So I hope you can understand how product demand and a degree of competition, the two product market factors, influence external competitiveness of compensation of a company. Other factors beside the product market conditions, that is the product demand and level of competition, there are other factors as well, okay, which may affect the pay level or level of compensation by an organization. It includes the productivity of labor, okay, includes productivity of labor. So all the units produced within a given period of time divided by number of employees will give you productivity, or number of units produced per employee. Okay, so without any increase in productivity, if the companies go on increasing the compensation, then the company's losses will increase. So this is what is one more factor, the productivity of labor has to be considered by an organization while setting a competitive compensation. Then technology employed. Okay, so employing technology may reduce costs for the organization. So if the technology used is very old technology, the cost will be very high. Okay, total cost will be very high, and newer technologies initially though they may cost very high, but in the long run they reduce the overall cost of the company. Okay, then utilization of a production capacity. Okay, say for example there is a two-wheeler, okay, manufacturing unit, and the production capacity of the factory or plant is 1 million units, 10 lakh units. So the factory can manufacture 10 lakh motorcycles per year, okay, provided full production capacity is utilized. So under these circumstances, the fixed cost per unit will be at its lowest, and the total cost per unit also will be lowest, and the company will be able to sell the product at a very profitable margin. So under such circumstances, if the production capacity is utilized to the maximum extent or 100%, the employer will be able to pay a higher compensation to its employees. Okay, but if the production capacity is underutilized, let's say 60%, 70% only, so instead of 10 lakh motorcycles, if the company is manufacturing only 6 lakh motorcycles or 7 lakh motorcycles, the fixed cost per unit will be higher in second case. Okay, so in such a condition, the company will not be able to increase the pay or offer a higher pay as compared to the first situation which I explained. So these factors vary to a lesser extent within an industry. Okay, means these factors, productivity of labor, technology employed, or utilization of production capacity, these factors influence, okay, various organizations, okay, across the industry, okay, to a lesser extent as compared to product market factors. Okay. Then yeah, couple of organization factors are also there. I will discuss them first, and then I will go for your questions and answers. So before I discuss these organization factors, I would like you to take a look at the figure exhibit 7.3. What shapes external competitiveness, or what factors influence external competitiveness of compensation of an organization? So we learnt now labor market factors, we learnt about how product market factors influence. Now the last set of factors are referred as organization factors. These are industry, strategy, size and individual. Okay, so let us now discuss organization factors. What are they and how they influence external competitiveness, okay, of a compensation strategy. So these organization factors include industry and technology. So if you consider certain industries, okay, the wages or compensation paid is quite low, and in some other industries the compensation or wages paid are quite high. So naturally, so these, the industry in which the company is operating, is one of the determinants of the pay level for an organization. If the company is operating in an industry where the pay levels are lower, okay, so no company will initiate to pay a higher compensation in such an industry. Okay, so I hope you understand, that is quite easy. For example, the level of technology used in IT industry is quite high, or compared to other industries it is highest. So generally what we see, okay, so the compensation paid for the IT jobs is also quite high. Okay, so in IT job market, if a company pays lower salary, that company will not be very competitive in the labor market. It will not be able to attract, okay, quite a good talent. Then definitely the second factor, employer size. So if you consider the compensation or salary of a market leader company, definitely market leader company generally, okay, pay highest salary in the industry. And the reason is simply due to size of the employer. if the employer organization is a large size, okay, large size organization, okay, with large revenues and great profits, so this employer will afford to pay a higher compensation. So this is quite understandable. Excuse me. The third organization factor is people preferences. Okay, so again, definitely, see, as a job seeker now, so when there are multiple companies come to campus recruitment, you will have your own preference. Okay, so you'll have your own preference. It is like product demand. If there is a great demand for a product in the market, means consumer prefer that product. Okay, that company can sell the product at a higher price, provided, okay, the demand doesn't decrease. Say for example, Gillette. Okay, Gillette is a preferred shaving product in the market. Okay, so similarly, the employer, people also prefer, job seekers also prefer certain companies. Okay, say for example, in IT market, in your textbook it is there. Okay, companies like IBM, Microsoft, okay, these are people's preferred companies for careers. Okay, so definitely, so one of the reason why people prefer Microsoft or IBM is the pay level is quite high compared to their competitors. And since the best talent naturally gets attracted towards companies like Microsoft, Amazon, okay, or IBM, so the company need to maintain that higher pay level. Then organization strategy. Okay, so organization strategy, okay, is basically about how it approaches the market, how it approaches the competition. Okay, so when we say strategy, say for example, I will compare Pizza Hut and Domino's. So now the models are, okay, going under change in India due to the type of consumer buying behavior. Okay, but if you consider developed nations, how exactly the model of Domino's works, 80% of Domino's sales comes from home deliveries or orders they take over the phone and make home delivery. Only up to 20 to 25% of the business comes from walk-in guests or customers to the restaurants. Whereas the Pizza Hut, its competitors, 80% of Pizza Hut's, okay, sales come from walk-in customers to the restaurants, and about 20 to 25% of the revenues Pizza Hut gets from home deliveries. Okay, so this way, depending on the organization strategy. So if you look at Pizza Hut, they will need more number of employees inside the restaurant, and customer service is of priority. So employees need to be trained. So whereas it comes to Domino's, you need more number of employees who can drive quickly in the traffic and deliver the pizza within, okay, 30 minutes, as well as the chefs who are in the kitchen need to prepare that, okay, pizza within certain specified time limit. So the skills required are quite different, and the compensation paid also may be quite different depending on the skill set required. Okay, yeah. So I'll pause here. Yes, students, any questions now? If you want me to share screen of that PowerPoint slide, I can share. Okay, if possible, you turn on your video while speaking or asking a question. Yes, any questions? Yeah, Pranjali, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Okay. Akshay Kulkarni, can you hear me? Okay, no questions from Pranjali. Akshay Kulkarni, can you hear me? Okay, Arpita.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Akshay Kulkarni, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Arpita, any questions?
No, no, sir.
Okay. So great. Then now let me take attendance. Then we'll continue with the class. Aishwarya.
Present, sir.
Yeah, I can see Akshay Kulkarni is present. Ankita
Yes,
is
sir.
present. Yeah, I can see all of you. Ankita is present. Apeksha is present.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Arpita is present. Ashutosh.
Present, sir.
Ashutosh present. Then Ashwini.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ashwini is present. Geeta. Geeta is absent today. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Absent.
Geetanjali is present, I think. Yeah. Geetanjali is present.
Present, sir.
Yeah. Then Meghna Kalburgi is present.
Present, sir.
Yeah. Meghna Lokhande.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, she is present. Then Nagaratna. Yeah, present.
Present,
Yeah.
sir.
Navya.
Present, sir.
Nidhi. Yeah, she is there. Nikita.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nikita. I cannot see her. Okay. Then Pooja.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Pranjali is there. Then
Yes, sir.
Prema. Prema is absent.
Yes, sir. She is absent, sir.
Yeah. Then Priya. Priya is also absent. Then Varsha. Yeah, Varsha also I cannot see. Varsha, then Samuel is present.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Yeah, Sharan is present. Then Sharayu. Sharayu. I cannot see her, okay. Sharayu is absent, I think.
No, she is present, sir.
She is present, okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Shara is present. Then, see, due to internet connectivity, sometimes students log out automatically. So, if you have seen them, you can give their attendance. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. After Sharayu, Shilpa is present. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then Shreya.
Present, sir.
Yeah, Shreya present. Then Srinidhi.
Present, sir.
Shweta. Shweta Kokne. She is absent or she was there?
She is not there, sir.
Yeah, not there. Okay, then Snehal. Yeah, Snehal also I cannot see. Then Suchitra, absent. Maruf. Maruf is absent today. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Vaishnavi. She is
Sir,
present. Yeah, she is
she is
present.
present, sir.
Okay. So I'll just call the absentee names. Yeah, Vaishnavi is present. So I'll call the absent names once again. So just check if somebody was already there in the class and logged out due to poor internet. Geeta, Nikita, Prema, Priya, Varsha, Shweta, Snehal, Suchitra, and Maruf. Any of these students were there earlier?
No, sir.
No. Okay. 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 Okay, so good. So now let's get back. So any questions, students? Any questions from your end? No, Vaishnavi says no questions. Okay, anything did you read related to compensation?
Not actually, sir.
Okay, see, so we had a guest lecture, okay, about online classes. So even we do remember, even in class, okay, without interaction, be it offline or online, without interaction, without discussion, without analysis, okay, learning is only limited to remembering. The students will be able to only recall at the time of exam and answer a question. Okay, but during the classes where there is ample time and scope to share information, discuss and analyze. Okay, so if there is no interaction generated, okay, even see what happens when I read a news. I read the news, I explain it, and matter over. Correct? That is what happens. Okay, so you should initiate now to bring news into classroom. Okay, and read out the news at least, and let the explanation can be done by me or some other student. And students may have questions on that news. So this is how it is one simple way to generate interaction. Okay. So this all regularly I have been telling, and I have told you to go through newspaper, e-newspapers, e-business magazines, as well as okay company websites you can refer. Okay, so careers, that option if you click, so employer will speak about okay the features of his employment. If you can recall, I okay shared you the I shown you the website of Lockheed Martin, Medtronics, Whole Foods. Okay, so then SAS company. Okay, so if you can recall, so how in their website they mention about the features of their employment and try to attract the best talent. So there are the sources are numerous. Okay, if you do not know, ask. Okay, but browse and gather some information, at least one information about one subject. Okay, so that is how things can go ahead. Okay, so anyway, so all the best for that. So I'll continue with the PowerPoint slide again. Okay, students, can you see the PowerPoint slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we completed the learning of factors that influence external competitiveness of compensation strategy of a company. Okay, so they included labor market factors, product market factors, and organization factors. Now we are moving ahead with the last part of the chapter. So if you can recall, so we have completed discussion on compensation strategy and external competitiveness. What shapes external competitiveness? And now we are moving on to competitive pay policy alternatives. Okay. So after learning how external competitiveness, what is external competitiveness, and how it is part of a compensation strategy, importance of external competitiveness. We, after learning what factors influence external competitiveness, means is basically level of pay, high, low, or equal to that of other companies in the competition or in the market. So then we will move on to competitive pay policy alternatives. So there will be alternate approaches adopted by companies, in paying the level of compensation which is determined. So we are going to learn now competitive pay policy alternatives with respect to external competitiveness. Yes. So competitive pay policy alternatives. Okay, so a company will try to determine its compensation strategy in a way where it is competitive in the market. Means, it is attractive to the job seekers, because if the compensation level is higher or if the competitor strategy is attractive, the company will be able to retain its experienced employees as well as attract more talented employees from the labor market. So how a company can, what are the different alternatives available for a company with respect to external competitiveness? A company may decide to pay equal to competition. Means what other companies in the industry are paying, pay more or less same salary. So we call it match. Or lead policy, excuse me, pay a higher salary than the competitors. Lag policy, means pay lower than what competitors are paying. So though these are the three basic alternatives, but there are some modified alternatives also, like flexible policies, employer of choice policy, and shared choice. So which we are going to learn them one by one. Okay, so first with pay with competition, means pay equal to, or pay how much what the competitors are paying, pay the same salary. Okay, that is the first alternative way of paying. Okay. So what is the objective of pay with competition or match the compensation with competitors? The company is attempting to ensure an organization's wage costs are approximately equal to those of its product competitors. Okay, so the company is trying to attempt to make its wage costs. Okay, so again recall how an employer defines compensation: a major cost to company. Okay, so by paying similar salary to that of competitors, what a company is trying to achieve? It is trying to achieve its wage costs incurred in terms of payment of salary are approximately equal to those of its product competitors. Okay, it means they want to maintain their competitiveness in terms of a cost per unit. Then ability to attract potential employees will be approximately equal to its labor market competitors. Say for example, if there are three companies which you want to apply, all three all three are in same industry and all three companies are paying equal salary or same salary. Okay, so then it doesn't make a difference in which company you join, provided other work conditions are same. So by paying a similar salary to that of competitors, a company attempts to ensure that its wage costs are approximately equal to those of its product competitors. It means the company is trying to maintain its costs equal to their competitors. Here it means cost per unit. Then its ability to attract potential employees will be approximately equal because it decides to pay the same salary that of its competitors. So this alternative, okay, pay policy avoids placing an employer at a disadvantage in pricing products. Say imagine, say there are three companies and the market is price sensitive and two companies are paying 20,000 per month. To make it simple, just to make it simple, two companies are paying 20,000 per month salary to its sales reps. Okay, and this third company decides to pay 30,000 rupees per month. See what will happen? This third company's wage costs will increase, okay, in comparison with its competitors, and naturally the prices of this third company will also increase and demand for its products will decrease. If the this third company which has decided to pay 30,000 per month to sales reps, if they want to keep the same price, then they have to sacrifice the profit margin. They have to sell it at the same price where their profit margins will be lower, and all this happened because this company decided to pay a higher salary compared to competitors. But definitely if the sales of this third organization increase in proportion with the increase in wages, then again there will not be a problem. So dear students, so these decisions are this way complicated and it require a lot of discussion and analysis to understand, which happens only when you bring in some information, some news related to corporate world about the subject. Okay, so when the initiation is from your end, your willingness to learn, willingness to discuss will be higher. So please try to understand. Even if I bring in the news, it will be just like a PowerPoint slide, one more PowerPoint slide. Okay, though I discuss and analyze. It may not provide a competitive advantage in labor market. Pay with competition or match your pay with competitors will not provide a competitive advantage in labor market, because a job seeker will not mind joining company A, company B or company C because all three companies are paying same salary. So that is about first alternative. Okay, how to pay related to external competitiveness. Second alternate is lead policy. Okay, lead policy is pay above the competition, pay more salary than what competitors are paying to their employees. So this is lead policy. It maximizes the ability to attract and retain quality employees and minimizes employee dissatisfaction with respect to pay. See dear students, one of the major dissatisfaction of the employees is always with respect to pay or compensation. Please remember, to some extent, I will not say always and greater extent, to some extent employees may cope up or adjust with other factors, but employees definitely will not adjust or cope up with lower compensation. So that is the reason why lead policy means if a company decides to pay higher salary than that of competitors, so in that company it maximizes the ability to attract and retain quality employees, not just employees, quality employees, and minimizes employee dissatisfaction with respect to pay. It means increased productivity. Lead policy may also offset less attractive features of work. See, that is what I said. To some extent employees may adjust or cope up with other problems in the organization, but compensation is one thing which employees will not definitely adjust. So that is the reason why if a company is paying higher salary than its competitors, it may also offset less attractive features of the work. There may be some negative aspects about the work, some other working conditions, so that will be offset by the higher pay. Because if when the employee evaluates, let us say there are one or two areas there is some problem in the job, and he wants to quit and join a competitor job, but he will get a lower salary. Okay, when he knows that, he will adjust with those problems, okay, and he will continue to work in the same organization. That is why in the first point it is mentioned, maximizes the ability to retain quality employees. Okay, if used only to hire new employees, it may lead to dissatisfaction of current employees. See, many organizations or those managements who are not highly professional, okay, many a times end up in this doing this mistake. They continue, okay, with the present employees with the same old salary, but while hiring new employees they pay a higher salary so that they can attract the better talent in the market. Yes, this high pay will definitely attract, okay, better talent in the job market, but if you are not paying the same level of compensation to the existing employees, it may lead to dissatisfaction of the existing employees or current employees, okay, and there will not be coordination among the new employees and existing employees, okay, and existing employees or current employees may also get demoralized and their productivity may decrease. Okay, so lead policy, what do we conclude? Lead policy, if adopted by a company, lead policy means pay a higher compensation than other competitors in the market. Okay, that higher compensation should be paid to current employees as well as to new employees. Okay, then the third alternate. Okay, so I think okay, it's already 12:30. Okay, yeah, it's almost 2 minutes are remaining, so I will stop here. So two, okay, competitive pay policy alternatives we learned. One is pay with competition, means equal to that of competitors, and lead policy means pay more than what competitors are paying. Okay, just I would like to sum up. So every time, okay, I explain something, though I am using the word salary, compensation, equally important for students, you should remember that we are learning about compensation. See, compensation is the broader term and a professional term used in developed nations and corporates, but in our country the term salary is quite popular. So the moment I say compensation, don't, okay, forget that compensation is nothing but a salary what we speak about, and whatever we are learning, I am explaining, okay, it is all related to salary of a company or compensation strategy of a company. And in this part we are learning how a company can decide its compensation, okay, with respect to competitors in the job market. It is not necessary to pay always high salary. All companies don't pay higher than competition. I hope you are aware. That's why these different pay policy alternatives are available. So two of them we have learned. One is pay equal to competitors or pay more than competitors, more salary than competitors. Remaining we learn in next class. Okay. So 1 more minute is there. If you have any doubts, still you can ask. Not a problem. Okay, so it looks like there are no questions. So it's already 12:30 now. So I'm going to end the session. So thank you one and all for your presence. So please do read and share business news in my classes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good day to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Welcome.
for Ashra come earlier, no? Just now we went to the
No, sir, it was outside, sir. Now he came. I went to see the told him to follow the regulation road. I can come tomorrow if you want, I will.
You can wait over there. Regarding the last session, is screen visible to you all? Okay, and what about my voice? Is it clearly heard? In the last session, we have discussed about what are ADRs. ADRs are what? American Depository Receipts. Similarly, GDRs are what? Global Depository Receipts. Our Indian companies can raise funds from international markets. We can issue shares to the investors in foreign countries also. Okay? So, for example, if an Indian company like Infosys goes to USA, okay, and it wants to attract investors from USA to invest in Infosys shares. The American investors cannot come directly to India and can invest here. Okay? They cannot do that. On the other hand, our Indian companies, what they do is they go for issuing something called as American Depository Receipts. Okay? Infosys, for example, will take out some shares, okay, which it wants to issue in US. It keeps in a custodian bank here in India, and the custodian bank in India will have some understanding with foreign depository, okay, supposing in New York, let us say. So the New York bank, the New York bank institution will issue depository receipts. Okay, whatever the deposit receipts, each deposit receipt will indicate, okay, will have some, for example, one share of Infosys here, there is here, a deposit receipt of equal magnitude can be held by the American financial institution. Okay? So, like that, the investors in US, what they will do, they will approach the financial institution that is there in US, and they will pay the money there, they will pay the money to the American financial institution, and in turn they will be given the depository receipt, okay, which is equivalent to the share of the Infosys company. Okay, but they will not be given the actual share there. The actual share they will not be given, but a depository receipt will be given to them, which is almost equivalent to a share. Okay, and that can be again further bought and sold in the American market. Okay, and the Infosys share will be listed in, for example, NYSE or Nasdaq, which is stock exchange in US. Okay, American. Okay. So that is for India, American depository. For example, for example, you have your Tata Steel is there. Okay, Tata Steel is there. So Tata Steel wants to go to London. Okay, and it wants to attract people from London to invest in Tata Steels. Okay, what you can do, like how companies from India go to USA and they is called as ADR. Similarly, a company goes to the non-American, okay, other than America, if they go to any other country, okay, for example, London, let us say, okay, London. So London investors can buy the Tata Steel shares there. Okay, that is called as the GDR, Global Depository Receipts. Okay, so the ADRs are always denominated in American dollars, but GDRs, okay, since they are not in US, they can be anywhere outside US. They can also be in the American dollars or euros or whichever currency is applicable there. Okay. So GDR is also nothing but a kind of deposit receipts, but they are issued other than that in USA. Okay, so that is the difference between ADRs and GDRs. I'll just show you, for example, the